Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Mushi and I'm a society and culture teacher at St. Narsai Assyrian Christian College. I'm joined here with a few students in my class and in our subject we learn about belief systems, which is one of the depth studies. And with belief systems we look at secularization, how it's affected Christianity throughout history and in contemporary times. So just wanted to bring in some of the students. I've got Nora Williams with me today. I've got Nina Isaac, Anita Daniel, Anita Raha, Justin Yusuf and Angelina Daniel. So I'll just start with Nina, if that's okay. Nina, just in general, what do you feel is happening with Christianity in our contemporary world, just generally speaking, worldwide?
I don't think it's thriving anymore. It's more like there's no more pressure to be religious. And like with the whole debate going on, whether is there like a God or anymore, people tend to try to prove it wrong before trying to prove it right. And that goes with Christians as well. We should listen to the other side to try to help them understand that, see what's wrong there. There's actually this saying that I read a few days back. It goes, "Nature bears the mark of a designer," which I think puts things into perspective really well.
No, definitely, yeah. I really like that. It's just interesting. You're right, because as the world is changing and becoming more complex, I just feel like everyone's so busy. It's changed so much from like the 1960s and 1970s, and
it's funny because sometimes people try to use science to prove Christianity wrong, but 99% of the time, Christianity and science work hand in hand. Which,
no, definitely, yeah, 100%. Angelina, if I could just bring you in, speaking about the Western world in particular, like looking at countries like America, Canada, Australia, how do you feel as though Christianity is like specifically in those countries? What's happening there with Westernization?
Yeah, in comparison to Eastern countries, which are very collective, Australia and Canada and all those types of countries, the Western world, they're very individualistic. So everyone has like their own ideologies, and atheism is coming more because people want to look into the more factual side.
Yeah.
And I feel like Christianity, all these religions are going away and being forgotten about because everyone wants to take their own path, everyone wants to follow their own, like live their life, as they say. And no one really looks through religion or Christianity, but I think it's very important for people to not forget about that because it sees communities and cultures together.
But like specifically speaking, like in America and Australia, we're seeing like secularism just like shoot through the roof. Why is it happening more there, you reckon, exactly, like specifically?
I feel like because there's a lot of contemporary movements that are happening in the world, and they're inevitable. So either way, even Christianity, people are starting to accept those movements because there's a lot of conflict going on in the world. For example, churches are starting to be less used, and even churches like in Italy, they're becoming into restaurants. It's like really crazy.
I heard about that. Yeah, even in France, I think there was like a few case studies they done. It was like a rise, like a spike in churches closing their doors and turning them into restaurants and nightclubs, which is pretty scary in Europe. If I could just bring in Anita. So Anita, with specifically speaking about youth, what's the challenges for a youth trying to stick with Christianity in this ever-changing world that we live in now?
I feel like because of in our youth, in our society, everyone's really busy with like school, and we've got our studies to follow, and social media has just taken so much of our time that no one really focuses on religion anymore. They sort of pull that away from their identity.
That's true, yeah.
Especially because on social media, we're very like influenced by what other people say.
That's true.
And we tend to hop on trends or hop on trains where we're either, dissing our own religion or we're just taking it away completely from our life.
It's a sad reality, but I think it's fair to say, generally speaking, the young generation now compared to the generation of our parents, we are less religious.
Yeah.
There's just that disconnection. It's not just because we don't believe in it sometimes. It's just I think we're so caught up with everything that you're saying, like schools, ATARs, social media, friend groups, etc. Because the world's changing so much. Yeah. Anita, if I could bring you in as well. So with our world that's it's changing so much, what is the importance of staying a Christian and trying to not change with the world just because it's basically modifying?
Religion is basically the backbone of like an identity.
Yep.
So everyone who is religious is a culture, it's a society. So it's really important not to lose that faith just because everyone else is changing. For example, as Anita was saying, the youth is like really being drawn more towards like atheism nowadays. Like churches are losing more people like every week. And it's really important not to do that and like follow trends and trends, as Anita was saying as well. And I believe like religion should like stick with us through difficult times, through adversity.
Yeah, of course. And like Anita was saying, just because the world is changing doesn't mean we have to change as well. You know what I mean? Like it's just because the world's changing and it's the norm to follow this way or this way. It doesn't mean that we should not follow our own way, right?
Yeah.
Justin, if I could bring you in as well, with speaking about the world changing, etc. How important is it that we have colleges like the one that we have, and we're so blessed to have now?
Honestly, it's really important.
Yeah.
Like significantly, like Anita and Angelina said, modernization in like westernized countries has like prioritized worldly possessions to be like over Christianity and our beliefs. So it's important for schools and churches. Like Anita said, they're not using churches and stuff. So it's really important for schools like ours and Narsai to not only keep Christian beliefs, but Assyrian traditions. Because actually not too long ago, a researcher found out that in a couple 100 years, our whole culture could go extinct.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's significantly important for not only our school, but for places of like Christianity to be operating, and for Christians just to go with their duty.
Definitely, yeah. Nora, if I could just bring you in as well. So with the whole, the world changing, etc., and religions kind of losing its relevancy and acceptance in our modern world, how important is it for you reckon, like for, as in St. Narsai College students and the college as well, to raise young people like you guys, which we are so proud of, and then that kind of transcends into like our children and the generations following. So how important is that, you reckon?
It's very important because like we need religion, like Anita said, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's a backbone again, because without religion, like there's no point, like your faith, like it's a way to success as well.
That's correct.
Because like you need faith to do anything. And nowadays it's so hard to be like religious, and our school is like embedding like scriptures and teachings in our heads from now, because it's very important. Again, we're reminded of like Christianity all over the school with crosses, prayers, and everything. It's very important because, like Justin said, our culture is gonna go extinct, and it's very hard to lose our culture because it's very valuable and everything.
And Nora, I just wanted to follow up with one more question. So obviously you're still young, but when you get older, hopefully if you get married and you have children, would you love to send your children here for the specific
Yes,
fact of the
100%.
Assyrian tradition and the
Yeah.
Christian culture?
Yeah, because like we need to pass what our parents gave us, our
Of
religion,
course.
our cultures, our everything to our children, so they could pass it to their children.
Yeah, that's
Like, it's a generation thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time out today. Very interesting debates on religion, and especially Christianity. I do feel as though Christianity is in a constant battle with this ever-changing world, and with the latest fad movement or the latest equal rights movement or anything like that, which all have their their meaning and purpose in our life. But I feel as though sometimes it really sidetracks us from what the main importance or like the main thing in our life, which should be Christianity, I guess, and Jesus Christ. So thank you very much for attending, guys. Awesome.
Thank you.